Do you work with someone who makes you dread waking up in the morning? Someone who makes you want to hit the snooze? Someone who just sucks the life out of you? Well, in this series, we're going to talk about how to deal with those people. The people who zap the fun out of getting up and going to work. The people who make you dread pulling off the freeway and into the parking lot. Today, we're going to talk about the lazy coworker. The coworker who walks right by the mess, who makes you wish you just did it yourself. The one who cannot be motivated. The one who can't be bothered to do it right the first time, or ever. The one who's too busy checking Facebook to help you out. But don't worry, don't trudge across the parking lot just yet. We're going to make your work life better with just 2 questions.
Hi, it's Lindley from Animals Amplified here.
We're back
With our series, How to Deal with That Person. Today we're talking about how to deal with your lazy coworker. Yeah, I'm kind of busy here. Okay. Now if you're new here, you're probably wondering,
what does she know
about dealing with any of these types of people, right? Well, I've been an animal trainer for 13 years. I've trained a porcupine to weave through my legs, and my legs are still intact. So I did that well. And I've even trained a tiger to allow me to inject him to sedate him for a medical exam. So if I can convince a tiger and a porcupine to do those things and stay safe, I would say I might be able to train a person too. But to just give me a little bit more of a boost here,
animal people are weird. Yeah, I am really weird.
like incredibly weird. And they typically work with animals because they're no good with people. Most of them don't even like people. So I've worked with my fair share of difficult coworkers. I've worked with a lot of those people over the years. So I've gained a thing or two to keep me positive in this field, and I'm going to share them with you. And it's a simple 2 questions that you can ask yourself about each of these different people. Why did they do it, and what to do about it? So today we're going to talk about how to deal with a lazy coworker, and we're going to ask those 2 questions. So first, why are they lazy? Well, there's 3 possible reasons. Number 1 is that they have different standards than you do.
They may think whatever they're doing is good enough.
You might think it could be done a whole lot better. So you too might have different standards. There's a whole spectrum of how things can be completed and still be considered complete. They might fall down here, you might fall up here. So you guys have different standards. Number 2 reason why someone would be lazy is because they're apathetic. In the animal world and the behavior world, we call this learned helplessness. What this means is that they've maybe gone above and beyond in the past, and their situation didn't change at all because of it.
I give up. This is useless.
Or maybe in the past, they haven't gone above and beyond, and yet they're still getting the things that they need and the things that they want. So going above and beyond or meeting your standards doesn't change where they're at on a daily basis. So that's the number 2 reason someone might be lazy, because it just doesn't matter. All right, the number 3 reason why someone might be lazy is because they don't know any better. Remember, all of us have a different path that we've had to walk in life. So you have no idea what this person's history might be, how they were raised, what kind of house they grew up in, what their parents were like, what kind of situation that they lived in, if they even lived with their parents. You have no idea what situation they came from. So what might be normal for them is probably not going to be normal for you. And what might be normal for you is definitely not going to be normal for them. So those are the 3 reasons why someone would be lazy. But what to do about it? Well, before we get into that, I want to make sure that you know that we have a whole lot of different videos in this series. So if you haven't checked out how to deal with a bossy coworker, how to deal with a possessive coworker, or how to deal with a micromanager, you need to check out the links below in the description, because those videos will also help you make your work life happier so you can find and live your happy too. So now, let's jump into what we're going to do about it.
We have 4 things to do here.
So number 1 is to agree on the standards. Like we said before, it could be that you have completely different standards. This is where checklists, grids, policies, procedures all come in really handy. If it's written down, then you can both look at it, decide together exactly what the standard is. Now, this can be done without anyone feeling like someone thinks they're better than the other person. So if you happen to be the one who works a little bit harder or a little bit longer, make sure that you don't come at this from an arrogant standpoint. Don't get all high and mighty over here. So you need to make sure you talk to the lazy coworker and say, hey, I've noticed you and I do things a little bit differently.
Do you mind if we meet up to look through those standards so we can make sure that we're on the same page and work is getting done consistently no matter who's doing it?
That's a completely approachable way to deal with this. So agree on your standards. Number 2, reward good behavior.
I reward you, and I reward you, and I reward you, and I reward you.
And small approximations. Remember how I said, well, I was a trainer? I didn't just take the porcupine out to the stage and have her walk through my legs. I had to work on it behind the scenes first, just her walking next to me, and then her targeting through my legs. It's when we use this target pole. She touches her nose to it. We can move her around, like through the legs. And then multiple ways through while I walked. So we took small steps to make that behavior happen, and that's exactly what you're going to do. So if you have a lazy coworker, you are going to look really hard for any time that they go slightly above what their normal routine is, and then you're going to make a big deal out of it.
Thank you so much for that. It meant a lot to me that you did that today.
Thanks so much. Hey, you really helped me out.
Hey, thanks so much for your help today. It really meant a lot.
Man, it means a lot to me that you helped me out with that.
You have no idea how much you saved me today. Thank you so much.
My day was so much easier because of you. Thank you so much. Small approximations and rewarding for good behavior. All right, number 3 is to actually ask for help. If they don't know any better, or they don't know what your standards are, they don't know that you are unhappy and that you need their help.
Or you've been so awful, no one wants to help you.
That is always something that could happen here too. So here's what you're gonna do. You're going to ask for help. Now, I already hear you, okay, I hear you. You are saying, I shouldn't have to, right? I am the queen of huffing. When I want help, I don't say anything. I just... They should know, it's their job. They should know how to do their job. I hear you. Been there, done that.
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not. So being bitter, being mad in your head, saying I shouldn't have to, isn't getting you there. So will you just try it out for me? 1 week. Give it a shot. 1 week. Just ask for help. So if you have a project that you feel like you're not going to complete, or if you feel like you have something that's not being completed to your standards, we're just going to ask for help. And here's how we're going to ask. It would make my day 1,000 times easier if you could work on this project with me. Would you be able to do that?
I would so much appreciate your help with this project. Are you able to help me today?
I absolutely love working with you. Would you help me with this today? Done. Simple. See how there was no tone of annoyance or arrogance in my voice? It was just, hey, I could really use your help. It would really help me if I'd really enjoy it. Hey, I like working with you. Would you mind helping me with this today? That's all it takes.
Simple as that.
All right? Okay, so we're gonna ask for help. Step number 4 here is a little bit about you and what's happening in your head. You have to
Stop looking for confirming information.
So we like to tell ourselves these stories about other people, and then we like to look for all of the evidence that we see that confirms those stories.
I predict you're going to be lazy.
Oh look, I'm right. But here's what happens when we're looking for all of that evidence that we see to confirm our stories. We're actually ignoring all sorts of information that might counteract our stories. Because guess what? We don't want to be wrong. We want to be able to create a hypothesis about how things are going to go, and then we want to know that that's how it's going to happen. So this is called confirmation bias. And so what you need to stop doing is looking for evidence that this person is lazy. Instead, you need to look for evidence that counteracts your story. Try to make a liar out of yourself. So you're going to look for information that tells you that this person works hard, goes above and beyond, has standards that you didn't know about. You're gonna have to look really hard because your brain is literally wired to tell you a different story. Let's go through those 4 things again. So we're going to agree on the standards, right? We're going to reward good behavior and even the smallest approximations. We're going to ask for help, and we're going to do it with a smile. And we're going to stop looking for confirming information. We're going to cut off the confirmation bias. And that, my friends, is how you deal with a lazy coworker. Let me know how it worked. I want you to comment below. Tell me all about it. Tell me what other coworkers you're having a hard time with. I want to hear from you. And if you go back and you ask for help and it works, I want you to comment Amplified Nation in the comments below. All right, subscribe, and we will see you next time.